All right, guys. SGC is calling with in regards to the Michael Jordan card that was in the last video. So we're going to go ahead and take their phone call and see what they have to say. Just in case you missed it too, before we jump in, this is the Michael Jordan card that I am referring to. This was done in the last video of my SGC slab reveal, so if you want to go back and review that, you can. This came back in SGC 6. This is the 1995-96 Skybox Premium Standouts Hobby Michael Jordan. It does have a foil front on there, and then the back is the issue that we had. So as you can see, there is a ton of paper loss right there, and there is also a really bad corner right there with a ton of white. Neither of those things were present on the card when I went ahead and sent them in the first time. So that's what they're calling me back about. We're going to see what we can do to make the situation right. I did get a 6 back, but was expecting somewhere around a 9. So we'll see what they have to say. This is him. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you? This is Corey with SGC.
Not too bad. Awesome. Thanks, Corey, for giving me a call.
Yeah, of course. No problem. So I was just reviewing all the information, TJ. Eric actually sent us over the information for that Jordan yesterday, actually, during the day. And I spent some time yesterday looking at some comps to get over to him during the day yesterday. And actually last night, Peter sent us an email over when he saw your video, and he wanted us to definitely make that a priority today. But I definitely wanted to assure you that, we were definitely working on it with Eric. But, in this case, I wanted to reach out to you and see, just to let you know, our process a little bit. I see that, I read the comment that Pete left, pretty extensive comment, and he pretty much gave all the details that I was going to give you over the phone. Just the kind of like to summarize it a little bit, what he was pretty much saying was that, we have processes in place where if a card was damaged beforehand, it would have to go back into the system to be corrected. We have a Q&A process in place, and then we would pretty much call the customer and, rectify the situation before the customer even received the card. In this case, the graders assigned a grade of a 6, and it just went through the system, so that's why it didn't really ring an alarm to the Q&A process. I can't really say with 100% certainty that this is something that happened in receiving, that this is something that happened right before grading or whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you that I don't think this is something that you sent the card in with. So, I definitely want to apologize on behalf of SGC and, just let you know we're going to definitely do what we can to make it right.
Okay.
I did look up some comps, and just so we're on the same page, I was looking at, I definitely see the top right corner in the back, and I see that's definitely dinged and bent back a little bit. I did want to ask about the paper loss on the back on the top left, because that's just something that I don't really know how that would happen in receiving, but I also saw that was something even on some PSA 8s and SGC 8.5 that we had sold recently. I did see that was a pretty prominent issue, so I don't know if that was something that was already coming off a little bit or what it may be, but
so that's the tough part. That's the tough part with it, right? Is that obviously I review all these things before I send them in, and I take care of them myself. And when I'm in the buying process, right, I'm looking for those kinds of things. And so I looked this card over, and it was a very clean copy when I got it. After talking to Drew and kind of going through this process, I went back to review to see if I had any pictures of the back of the card or a video or anything. So I did a previous YouTube video where I had showed the pickups that I got from the show where I bought this. Yeah. And I didn't actually show the back of the card. I just showed the front of it. But then when I went to turn it around, you can see the back of the card in the video. So I took a screenshot of that. So if you guys want that, I can send it over. But there was no paper loss at all on the back. You can clearly see in the screenshot of that video that along that left-hand edge, it's completely blue. There's no white there at all. So that is kind of concerning, right? I don't know where in the process that would happen, because it almost looks like, if someone was to try to open a slab and they stuck a screwdriver in there, it almost looks like someone did that and then kind of gouged that edge. But I bought the card raw. It wasn't already slabbed. I took it out of the case that it was in and repackaged it to send it to SGC. But like I said, in my video, when I showed the card after I had purchased it, there was no white there whatsoever. I mean, it was completely blue. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to send this card. This is a card where I know there are condition issues because there aren't very many that are in a high grade, which was the reason why I was sending it in.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense. And, I do want to, say, as far as, with the paper loss, I don't think just from my experience, I don't think that was, could be something as far as, something being jammed in. What I've seen is that's usually something that has to do with peeling, whether it be, possibly a card being cracked out and the paper peeling off, or possibly something with, the packaging, maybe there's been times where there was, tape a little too close to the card or things of that, and it got maybe stuck and it pulled off the paper. But I don't think it was something where they were trying to get it out. Just trying to get some more information from you. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, keeping in mind that you do have the card in SGC 6, and there's not really a necessity for you to send it back in because it already is in that proper grade. So just looking at some comps, I do see PSA 8s they recently sold. I see a couple of them sold for around the $70 to $80 range. I saw an SGC 8.5 that sold for around $45 a couple months ago. I would like to say that's pretty much a one-off. Those usually go for more than the PSA 8s. Taking that into consideration, and I do believe when you're saying that your car was in a little bit better condition. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a payout of $120. And then on top of it, I'm going to also give you 5 grading credits. So I'm going to give you the option. I can give you those 5 grading credits via a promo code that I can send directly to you. Or, if you, I would hate to pull customers away from any direction. I know you submit through Eric. I can also issue the grading credits via Eric. Pretty much up to you. But the $120 payout, he did provide me with an email address. I would just need to confirm for you.
Okay.
And if that's the email address associated with your PayPal, I can pretty much send that out today.
Okay. That's fine. If you want to send me the credits directly to myself so I can just sub through SGC, that's fine. Did you see any other, just out of curiosity though, so I was looking at some or kind of around the 9 value. Did you see kind of what those were selling for when you did your research?
Yeah, I mean, I did see a couple 9s recently. I saw one, the most recent one on bid. One sold for $350, and then another one by now I think it sold for around $400 a couple months ago.
I gotcha.
The thing with that is I did bring the card to our graders, right? And I did have them. What I always have them do is I have them look at the front and the back of the card, and pretty much in this case I had them look at the front of the card and pretty much said, if this had no dings on the back, no paper loss, no edge wear, none of that, the corner ding, they pretty much told me that they think that the card would have been in around an 8.5 range, pushing possibly SGC 9, but more around the SGC 8.5-9 range,
okay.
Which is why, I've decided that I want to give you some grading credits.
I got you.
I do think that that's a fair point, and it is a really, I do hope you understand it is a very tricky situation with this because we're pretty much trying to, we're just taking your word for it, and I do believe because we watched the video, you seem very, very sincere in your reaction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to issue the $120 credit, and then I'm also going to issue you 10 grading credits.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. In regards to the credit for $120, how does that come back to me?
I'm going to send you that as a direct PayPal payment. So
okay. Yes, sir. That'll work.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, even though I know you just told me that verbally over the phone, I'm just going to send a confirmation email over to this email.
Okay.
If you can just respond back with the email associated with your email address, even if it's the same, just so I have it in writing, and then I can pretty much copy and paste that and send you it directly through PayPal, just so we have a paper trail of that.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to send the credits in that email as well with some directions.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Like I said, it is a little disappointing. I mean, I know this card was not a 10 by any means, but I definitely was expecting somewhere around a 9. I don't even know if it would have gotten a 9.5. Definitely thought I had a chance for a 9 for sure, possibly 8.5. In doing your research, though, and going back, I mean, do you have any idea where that could have come from in the process, just so that I'm familiar with, as it's kind of moving through the factory, where that could have happened? I mean,
Yeah,
like when I sent it to Eric, right, it was already in the semi-rigid, and so sorry about that. When I sent it to Eric, it was already in the semi-rigid. He didn't take it out to wipe it or do anything with it that way. So he basically just sends me a video receiving, saying that he received them, and then he takes them and drops them off. So there was nothing done with his end. So, I don't know how that would have been damaged without it being out of the semi-rigid and the penny sleeve that it was in.
Yeah, I mean, like we kind of spoke about before, it is just kind of a tricky situation just because I don't know necessarily how he packaged. He did send me the video. I reviewed the video of how he was submitting for you, probably the same video that he sent you. I didn't have necessarily like standstills, but I was able to pretty much take a screenshot, and I was able to definitely see that top right corner in the back, and I saw that 100% wasn't there.
Okay.
But as far as like the packaging that it was submitted in, as far as how it was received, as far as the different things in that nature, I could not really tell you. Like I said, it just to me looks like it was peeled.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like something was stuck to it, or something was stuck together with it, and something peeled. And that could have even been something like, and this is like more of like a freak accident, but I've even seen card savers or top loaders that are just like kind of like stuck together, or a little, and things are just kind of like as you're pulling it out, it'll just kind of like stick to it and it'll peel off.
I got
a lot
you.
of these cards are very, very condition sensitive. I'm actually more surprised that the foil in the front didn't get messed up and it was
right.
glue in the back, because it's usually like a lot of times that can happen with foil cards is the peeling, so that's something that's whether it be like a PMG or things with the Skybox premium stuff from back in the day. But yeah, so if I had to I can't say with 100% certainty, but if I had to put my money on something, I'd probably say there was some kind of peeling that happened.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, it's just one of those things. That's why it was kind of disappointing, right? Because that card, with it having the foil and everything, it was in such good shape. That was why I wanted to get it graded and, get it put into something that would protect it. But yeah, I was just really shocked when it came back. I mean, I haven't had any problems. This is probably the 4th or 5th time I've sent to SGC in a bulk order, and pretty much all of the grades from the cards that I send in are, anywhere between a 9 and a 10. I don't really get much below a 9 unless I'm kind of expecting it. And it's just like one of those cards that I need to get into a holder. But yeah, I was really shocked by this, man, when I pulled it out. And I pulled it out back first, which I'm sure you saw in the video, right? And I could just see it right away. I'm like, that was not there, when I sent it in. So it was just kind of a surprise. And then obviously I didn't care about the 6, or, it was a 6 when I turned it around. But yeah, when I saw that on the back, I'm like, that was definitely not there to begin with. So just kind of cause for concern. But
yeah, of course. And I do know, one thing I can also tell you as well is that some cards, just depending on, because they're so condition sensitive, like I'll give you an example, like the Derek Jeter SP, the rookie. Are you familiar with that card? Yep. That's probably like one of the most disappointing cards that people submit. Just I mean that in the sense of like, I hear all the time, like, I know for a fact this is a 9.5. I know this is a 9. Like, I know this is a high grade. And a lot of times, they're like, just the other day, a guy pretty much told us he was certain that it was a 9 or a 9.5, and it ended up being a 7. And I'm not saying whatsoever as far as like your knowledge, because I can probably go back and I can see that you probably had some really good grades. But what I'm saying is, as far as sometimes there are just standards that have been set with certain cards and certain sets, and they've been kind of like preset just because they've been graded for a long time, and they'll go back and look at different conditions and say, like, if they're borderline 8.5, borderline 9, they might go look at previous 9s and they're going to compare it to that. And unfortunately, sometimes, maybe if grading standards were a little harder back then, there are some 9s out there that probably should have been pushing 9.5s, 10s, and unfortunately, maybe some cards are being pushed down because of that standard that's already been kind of preset.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, sounds good. I guess we can do whatever we can do. So, at least the $120 kind of, it gets me back what I put into the card raw, obviously, and does help, cover that 6th grade. And I do still have that one, which I appreciate.
Yeah, the 10 credits too as well. They're going to be reflected as pretty much $220 off of your order. So once you get to 10 cards, it goes down to $22 a card. So, 10 times the 22 cents, 220 off your order. So, I mean, you can kind of, if you wanted to, you can kind of spend it as like a $340 refund, which pretty much kind of evens out to that $350 sale of the PSA 9.
Okay.
And as well as you have the SGC 6 back. So I do want you to know that I did take that into consideration when giving you this refund.
All right, sounds good. Well, I appreciate you reaching out too. It was nice to see that that Peter had commented on that video too. I was kind of surprised by that, but I guess when the company's name is out there, he's probably checking some stuff out online. So I do appreciate that. And
yeah, one thing I will say is we're all pretty young here, and we're all collectors ourselves. And you know, he's on YouTube at night, just like the rest of us.
Right.
He wasn't even doing work. He was just literally on YouTube looking at card stuff, and we got that email late at night. So trust me, I came in this morning knowing that I was making this call. So we definitely got our customers back.
All right. Well, I appreciate you for reaching out directly, and hopefully we can turn this negative into a positive.
No problem. Thank you so much for your patience and understanding, TJ.
Awesome.
Take care, and I'll send an email shortly.
Thanks, bud. You too.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, well, there you have it, guys. That is the solution that we came up with. I wanted to leave as much of this phone call intact as I could, just to kind of show you guys, you know, as much of the situation as possible, so that you guys were aware how this was handled and what the conversation with them was actually like. So I hope that you really enjoyed this. I hope that this was helpful for you. Hopefully I don't have any more issues with these cards in the future, but you know, if something is going to happen to these cards when they're in the process, I can at least appreciate Peter, the CEO, who was able to, you know, he's out there basically prospecting and seeing what's being said about his company. He reached out to me directly, as he commented on the last video. Then SGC reached out to me proactively to try to rectify the situation. And so it's nice that A, they're listening to our feedback, and B, they're willing to do what is right to, you know, help compensate the customers for what happened. Now, it sucks because we don't know exactly what that card value is, but as you could hear from the conversation, somewhere around a 9 is kind of what I was expecting grade-wise. If it comes back a 9, it's probably going to sell for like that $350 range. So giving me back $120 basically in cash, right, that I can use for whatever, it was enough for me to get my money back from what I paid for the card raw. I didn't quite pay that much. It is nice to recoup that money. They're also going to give me 10, I did confirm this, but they're going to give me 10 free grading submissions to SGC as well. So I do have 10 cards now that I can send to SGC in the next month or so that I won't have to pay a grading fee for, which is nice too. So we'll see how any future orders come back, but again, it is nice that they're kind of hearing our feedback. They're helping us out. They gave me a credit back. I'm okay with this situation. You know, if this was a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 card, you know, I don't know if the situation would go down exactly the same. I don't know that I would feel exactly the same. But again, with this card and what I paid for it and the scenario, I do still have the SGC 6. So I still have the card. I was able to get my money back for it and stuff. I'm okay with this scenario just because it's not a crazy, crazy expensive card. It's not super valuable. It is a valuable card, but it's not crazy, crazy valuable. So again, I don't know if they would handle it exactly the same. You would hope that they would, and that they would work with clients to, you know, kind of rectify the situation and, you know, make them feel like they're coming out basically better off than where they went in, since SGC is ultimately responsible for the damage of the card. I know that he did mention in there too that, you know, he couldn't see or find somewhere in the process where that damage would have occurred, but going back and reviewing what footage I had of that card, and like I said, it was in a previous video where I showed that I had purchased the card. I took a screenshot of the back of the card when I turned it around in that video, and you can clearly see that there's no white, there's no paper loss along that edge. Same with the corner. I mean, you can't see that as well as you can that left edge in the video, but I mean, I know for a fact, obviously from looking them over, I'm not here to lie about this. I want to be as transparent as possible, and there was nothing going on there. Now, this card wasn't perfect, like I said in the video earlier. I was not expecting a 100% 10. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I definitely expected like a 9 kind of grade. So anyways, we got it resolved. Hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to try to do more content like this for you too. Hopefully more positive than negative, obviously, as I do more slab reveals and grading with all the different companies, not just SGC. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I am going to put some more links here so you guys can subscribe, and you guys can also check out some more videos. Not sure if I'm doing that this way, the right way, whatever. But thanks again for checking this out. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this, and I will catch you guys next time.